Welcome back to the channel, Everyone Rarest Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, and the stories behind some of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. If you collect coins, or you are just curious about rare treasures hidden in plain sight, you will want to stick around for this detailed history and value breakdown. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the first time a president's portrait appeared on a widely circulated American coin designed by Victor David Brenner. This humble penny featured Lincoln's profile on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity. The design would remain largely unchanged for the next 50 years. Collectors call these coins wheat pennies because of the wheat ears on the back. The series ran from 1909 through 1958. Over that time, billions of these coins were made and millions passed through everyday hands. But only a very small number turned out to be extremely rare and valuable. Many people think that rare coins are only old coins, but sometimes modern coins can be valuable too. This brings us to a modern Lincoln cent dating from 1984, minted in Denver and commonly referred to as 1984. The collector's interest in this coin came from die varieties and errors. Some Lincoln cents from the 1980s showed doubling on the lettering or unusual striking anomalies. These error coins are often highly sought after because they are not common now. Let us get into the history and value story that has taken the coin world by storm. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket or in your change that ends up being worth millions. That really happened in recent years. A Lincoln cent sold for a staggering $1.7 million. The coin that fetched that jaw-dropping price was not an ordinary penny. It was a unique rare error or an extremely low mintage specialty piece that collectors were willing to pay top dollar for. Coins that sell for incredible amounts like $1.7 million usually have one or more special characteristics. They might be an off-metal coin struck on the wrong planchet. They might have a minting error such as a double die, where the design elements appeared doubled. They might be a proof coin mistakenly placed into circulation, or an extremely rare variety that was only discovered in recent years and authenticated by experts. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series itself contains some of the most valuable coins in American numismatics. For example, the 1909 SVDB Wheat Penny and the 1914 D Wheat Penny are legendary and command huge prices in high grade. Even a worn example of these coins can be worth thousands of dollars. A pristine, uncirculated specimen can easily push into the tens or hundreds of thousands, depending on condition and demand. Collectors also chase key dates, such as the 1922 No D Lincoln cent, that was never officially released but somehow entered circulation. These and other famous rarities keep the coin collecting community buzzing because they remind us that even the most ordinary coins can sometimes turn out to be extraordinary. Let us return to the modern era and the story of the Lincoln cent that sold for $1.7 million. When news of that sale hit auction records, it energized collectors and everyday people alike. Everyone began checking their pocket change just in case they might own a hidden treasure. While such finds are incredibly rare, the possibility of discovering something valuable is part of the excitement of coin collecting. What determines the value of these coins is a combination of rarity, demand, historical significance, condition, and authentication. Coins are graded by professional services that assess how well preserved a coin is from the moment it left the mint. The highest grades achieve prices far beyond what common coins ever see. If you are new to coin collecting and you want to get started, here is some simple advice. Educate yourself about the series you love. Learn to identify mint marks and understand grading. Familiarize yourself with common error types and use tools like magnifying lenses or coin reference guides. Start by saving coins you find in circulation that look unusual or have strong strike features. Consult reputable dealers and consider having potentially valuable coins authenticated by trusted grading services. Remember, just because a coin looks old or unusual does not guarantee a high-value. Professional authentication is essential before assuming any coin is worth millions. In conclusion, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic and historically significant coins in American history. Its simple design hides a world of stories about art, industry, politics, and economy. The Lincoln cent series that followed continues to capture the imagination of collectors, and once-in-a-generation error coins or rare varieties can fetch astounding amounts, such as the Unbelievable $1.7 million sale. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video on the history and remarkable value of Lincoln pennies, hit the like button, subscribe for more coin stories, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our next treasure hunt. Until next time, keep looking closely at your pocket change. You never know what you might find. If you want, I can tailor this further for a certain audience. Add more facts or include visuals and narration cues for your video. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Rarest coins. Today, we're looking at one of the most familiar coins in America, the 1991 Lincoln penny. It's a coin most of us have passed through our hands thousands of times. It's so common that for decades it seemed like nothing more than a piece of pocket change. But for coin collectors, the 1991 Lincoln cent has a story that's more interesting than you might expect. The Lincoln penny bears the image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and it's a design with deep roots in American history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 as part of the centennial celebration of Lincoln's birth. It was the first time a real person appeared on regular U.S. coinage, and that design by Victor David Brenner has endured for over a century. For most of that time, pennies featured a wheat stalk reverse design through 1958, and later the Lincoln Memorial reverse through 1959 into 2008 and beyond. The 1991 Lincoln penny belongs to that Lincoln Memorial era, a modern production, but still part of a long and cherished numismatic tradition. Now let's talk about the 1991 coin itself. In 1991, the United States Mint produced nearly 10 billion Lincoln cents, making it one of the most common dates in modern coinage. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 5 billion with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck over 4 billion with a D mint mark. There was also a smaller production of proof coins from San Francisco marked with an S, but even those are relatively common compared to classic rarities. Because of these huge production numbers, a typical circulated 1991 Lincoln penny is worth just its face value of 1 cent, whether it's from Philadelphia or Denver. U.S. Coins Guide. That might sound disappointing, but coins are not just graded by existence. They're graded based on condition, rarity, and in some cases unique errors or varieties. Most 1991 pennies that have spent decades in pockets, piggy banks, or coin jars are worth face value. Uncirculated examples with no where that still show original mint luster might be worth between 10 and 25 cents to collectors, depending on eye appeal. U.S. Coins Guide. The most valuable standard 1991 Lincoln cents are those that were never circulated and have been professionally graded at very high mint state levels. For example, a 1991 penny graded MS68 plus red by a top grading service once sold for over $1,100 at auction, demonstrating that pristine examples can command collector interest. An MS69 RD 1991 D Lincoln cent at auction brought roughly $5,400. U.S. Coins Guide +1. Now, let's clear up something you might have heard circulating online. Some videos and social media posts suggest that certain 1991 pennies are worth $1.6 million or more. The reality is that there are no verified records of any 1991 Lincoln penny selling for that sort of price at major auctions. The documented auction records show sales in the thousands of dollars range for extremely high-grade examples, but nothing approaching the seven-figure level for a 1991 cent. The idea that a 1991 penny is worth over $1 million is more of a myth or exaggeration rather than documented numismatic fact. However, within the broad group of 1991 Lincoln cents, there are a number of error coins and varieties that attract serious collector interest. Some examples include off-center strikes where the coin wasn't fully aligned in the press, die chips that create raised blobs or letters like the famous BIE anomaly, and even extremely rare strikes on the wrong planchet, such as a penny struck on a smaller dime blank, which creates a dramatic hybrid coin that collectors treasure. Coin Identifier +1. One of the most exciting scenarios a collector might encounter is a wrong planchet error where a 1991 cent blank got mixed with stock intended for another denomination or metal. One such find of a 1991 penny struck on a dime planchet sold at auction for over $2,000, demonstrating how mistakes during the minting process can make certain pieces worth far more than face value. Coin Value Checker. So what should you do if you find a 1991 Lincoln penny that looks unusual? First, look closely at the details. Check the date and mint mark. Look for doubling of the letters. Check if the design is off-center or if the coin seems to be on a different metal or size than normal. Second, consider having it professionally graded and authenticated by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These third-party grading companies will tell you whether a coin's condition and characteristics are genuine and provide a grade that helps determine value. Even though the typical 1991 Lincoln penny is worth just a cent or a few dollars at most without extraordinary attributes, the coin's place in American numismatic history and the rare opportunities for remarkable finds are part of what makes coin collecting a lifelong passion. People have found pennies that turned out to be extremely valuable. The famous 1943 bronze penny error, for example, has sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars because of its rarity. Reddit for collectors, especially beginners. 1991 Lincoln cents can be an accessible way to learn how to evaluate condition, understand grading, and become familiar with minting varieties and errors. Save coins that look different, ask questions, and always do your own research before assuming a coin is worth an extraordinary amount. In closing, the 1991 Lincoln penny may be a coin you see every day, but it connects to a long history of American coinage and the fascinating world of coin collecting. While sensational claims like a $1.6 million 1991 penny aren't supported by auction records, you can find rare and valuable examples worth thousands. That's what makes the hunt exciting and why collectors keep searching through change jars and coin rolls to see what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new about the 1991 Lincoln penny, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin history and value videos, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video, and keep checking those pennies. If you want, I can tailor this script with voice cues, visuals, and chapter markers to help with your video production. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into the story of a coin most of us have seen thousands of times, the 2006 Lincoln penny. You might have a handful of these in your wallet or coin jars and think they're just 1-cent pieces, but for coin collectors, even modern cents can tell fascinating stories and sometimes be worth much more than you think. The Lincoln penny is one of the longest-running series in United States coinage, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and commemorate the centennial of his birth. This design broke tradition by placing a real person on circulating coinage, and it has stuck around for well over a century. The Lincoln cent has gone through several design changes, from the original wheat ears on the reverse through memorials and shields, but Lincoln's profile has remained a constant symbol of American money. The 2006 Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint with a D Mint mark below the date and is part of the Lincoln Memorial reverse era that lasted from 1959 until the redesign in 2009. In 2006, the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies, including nearly 4 billion just from the Denver Mint alone, making them extremely common in circulation. Given such high production, most 2006 pennies you find in your pocket are only worth their face value of 1 cent in average condition coin trackers, +1. That might sound unexciting, but coin value isn't determined by mintage alone. Condition matters a great deal, and collectors pay premiums for uncirculated coins that have never seen, where a pristine 2006 penny in uncirculated condition may be worth a few dollars or even more to the right collector, depending on its surface quality, luster, and eye appeal. Coin now. Let's talk about the value extremes and rare possibilities. Some coin videos and social media posts suggest that a 2006 Lincoln cent could be worth something like $1.5 million. That kind of claim might sound exciting, but the reality is very different, as no verified auction record exists showing a 2006 penny selling for anything near that amount. The documented auction record for a high-grade 2006 Lincoln cent was an MS-68 red example that sold for about $1,300 at a major auction, and that's for a coin in truly outstanding condition. So if a standard 2006 penny isn't worth millions, what is worth collecting about these coins? One major category is mint errors and unusual varieties. Errors occur at the mint when things go wrong during the striking process and can turn an ordinary penny into a collectible treasure. Some of the most sought-after 2006 error varieties include double dies, where the design seems doubled on parts of the coin, off-center strikes, where the image isn't lined up properly, wrong planchet errors, where a penny is struck on the blank intended for a different coin, and dramatic die cap errors, where a planchet sticks to the die and creates bizarre shapes. Coin value checker +1. To put actual numbers behind this, the double die variety on a 2006 D Lincoln penny graded at MS66 once sold at auction for over $1,000, demonstrating that quality and unusual features can add real value. Wrong planchet error coins from 2006 have sold in the high hundreds of dollars, and other errors like off-center strikes or die caps have brought sales in similar price ranges depending on their severity and condition. Coin value checker +1. If you find a 2006 D penny that looks different from the rest, here's what to look for. Check the details around the date and lettering for signs of doubling. Look for parts of the design that seem missing or shifted. Check the size and wait to see if it might have been struck on the wrong planchet, and examine the surfaces for unusual bumps, cuts, or shapes. These features can be dramatic or subtle. Having a magnifying loupe or good macro camera shot can help reveal what's going on up close. Another aspect of Lincoln cent collecting that matters is grading. Professional coin grading services assess coins and assign a numeric grade that reflects condition from worn and damaged to virtually perfect coins with full original surfaces. High-graded coins become increasingly rare as you go up the scale. Most coins you find in circulation will never reach the top mint state grades, but those that do can command substantial premiums in the collector market. Compared to face value, modern pennies like the 2006 D are part of a long narrative about how everyday objects can become artifacts of history and interest. While most are common and worth just a cent or a few dollars, the small percentage with real errors or grades that meet near perfection hold a collectible appeal that keeps hobbyists searching through rolls and jars of coins. In closing, if you love coins, don't let the billions of ordinary 2006 D Lincoln pennies fool you. There are stories hidden in those small copper-colored discs, some worth hundreds or even thousands depending on rarity and condition. But always remember that sensational claims like a $1.5 million 2006 penny are stories of hype rather than verified market events. Knowing how to identify genuine errors, understanding grading, and learning what sets rare coins apart is the real key to finding value in your pocket change. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new about the 2006 D Lincoln penny, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more coin history and value videos, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Keep searching through change. You never know what treasures might be hiding right under your fingertips. If you'd like, I can tailor this script with visual cues, on-screen graphics, and chapter headings to help with filming your YouTube video. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are talking about a coin that most people have seen in their pocket change 1,000 times, but might not realize just how interesting it can be. The 1989 Lincoln penny. You might have one lying around and wonder if it's worth more than 1 cent. If you've heard rumors online about coins selling for huge prices, you're not alone. But before we go into what's real and what's hype, let's start with the history of this humble piece of American currency. The Lincoln penny has been part of American coinage since 1909, when the United States Mint introduced it to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. First time featuring a real historical figure on regular circulating money. The design by Victor David Brenner became iconic. Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and originally wheat ears on the reverse helped make this a favorite among collectors and everyday users alike. Over the decades, the penny design changed, but Lincoln remained. On the front in 1959, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial, which is the design that carried through 1989 and into the early 21st century. By 1989, the penny was made from a zinc core with a thin layer of copper plating. This change had been established in 1982 to reduce metal costs so that the coin's metal content did not exceed its face value. Because of that, nearly every 1989 Lincoln cent is that familiar copper-colored piece weighing 2.5 grams and measuring just under 20 millimeters in diameter. In that year, the Mint struck over 12.6 billion of these coins, with most coming from the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint, plus a smaller number of proof coins from San Francisco, making the 1989 Lincoln penny one of the most common pennies in everyday circulation. If you pull a 1989 penny from change today, it is normally worth only its face value, 1 cent, and in typical circulated condition, it's essentially pocket change. Now, let's talk about value and what makes some coins more sought after than others. The one criteria that determines collectible value, first and foremost, is condition. A worn coin that has been passed through decades of use generally carries just face value, but a coin that has remained uncirculated and retains its original red color and sharp details can be more valuable to collectors. Even so, typical uncirculated 1989 pennies without any unusual characteristics are generally worth a few dollars at most in the market and not millions. But what about the legendary claim that a 1989 Lincoln penny could be worth $1.3 million? Many videos and posts online talk about coins worth unbelievable amounts and sometimes associate those claims with a particular date, like 1989. The reality is that there are no verified auction records of a 1989 Lincoln penny selling for anything close to $1.3 million. Coins from this year have sold in auctions and private sales, but prices are well below that seven-figure level. The most valuable certified 1989 pennies in standard grades have sold for a few $1,000s maximum, but that does not mean there aren't interesting and legitimately valuable 1989 pennies. It all comes down to rarity, specific mint errors, and condition. One category that collectors look for is rare mint errors. For example, there are known 1989 pennies that were struck on planchets that should not have been used. Errors like this occur when incorrect blanks get fed into the coin presses, perhaps a leftover bronze planchet from before 1982 or a dime planchet from another denomination can find its way into the Lincoln cent dies. These wrong planchet errors are dramatic because the coin looks completely different from normal pennies. A 1989 Lincoln cent struck on a dime blank will have a silver color and different weight and size. These error coins have sold at auction for several $1,000s because they are extremely unusual examples of minting mistakes. Another interesting type of error for 1989 pennies is the off-center strike. These occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned in the press, and as a result the design is only partially struck. The degree of off-centerness greatly affects value. Minor off-center misalignments might be worth a few dollars, while dramatic off-center errors with most of the design missing can bring more at auction. Other errors include clipped planchets, die cracks, and cut errors where part of the die breaks, leading to raised lumps on the coin's surface. All of these errors are rare compared to the billions of normal strikes, and that rarity is what drives their collectible value. There is also a category of value based on condition and grading. Professional grading services assess coins and assign a numeric grade that reflects how close the coin is to perfect mint state. In modern terms, the Sheldon grading scale goes up to 70. Any coin graded MS 67, MS 68, or higher that still retains original red coloration can be desirable to advanced collectors. One exceptional 1989 penny graded MS 68 RD sold at auction for over $4,000, showing that truly high-grade pieces can bring a premium price. But again, these sales are in the thousands, not millions. There have been isolated stories circulating about a rare police error Lincoln penny with an embedded metal dot and confusing backstories about embedded bullet fragments. These stories sometimes include claims of sales into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they are controversial and not officially documented by major auction houses because unusual objects with speculative tales often attract hype that outpaces verified sales. The bottom line is that sensational tales should always be taken with skepticism unless backed by official sale records from reputable numismatic auction houses. So what should you do if you think you may have found a valuable 1989 penny? First, examine the coin's condition. Look at the surfaces, the color, the sharpness of detail, and any unusual features. Next, consider whether the coin appears to have been struck on a normal copper-plated zinc planchet or something very different like a dime planchet or heavy pre-1982 bronze piece. Next, check for errors like off-center strikes, doubled dies, die cracks, and other anomalies. If you find something that looks legitimately unusual, then having it examined by a professional coin dealer or sent to a third-party grading service is the best route. They will give you an unbiased evaluation of whether the coin is a true error, variety, and what its current market value could be. In conclusion, the 1989 Lincoln penny has a rich history as part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial series and remains one of the most recognizable coins in American currency. While most examples are worth only face value in circulation, there are rare errors and high-condition coins that can be worth significantly more. And although claims about a $1.3 million 1989 penny are not supported by real auction data, understanding how value works and what to look for can help you spot genuine numismatic treasures in your pocket change. Whether you are a beginner collector or just curious about the hidden stories behind everyday coins, the 1989 Lincoln penny is a fascinating piece of history to explore. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1989 Lincoln penny, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more coin value and history videos, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next treasure hunt video. Keep searching your change. You never know what fascinating stories and potential value might be hiding in plain sight. I can also help format this with visual cues and chapter timing markers if you want to make it easier for filming. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're going to take an in-depth look at a coin most people overlook, the 1988 Lincoln penny, a coin you see every day that might just hold hidden interest for collectors and treasure hunters alike. If you've ever wondered whether a seemingly ordinary penny from 1988 could be worth big money, you are in the right place. The Lincoln penny in general is one of the most iconic coins in American history. It first appeared in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth, and to mark a turning point in U.S. coin design. This was the first time a real person was featured on regular circulating coinage. The design has endured for more than a century, and Lincoln's profile has become part of everyday life. Even though most pennies are valued only at their face worth, the 1988 Lincoln penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial era, which began in 1959 and lasted until 2008. During this time, the reverse of the coin featured the Lincoln Memorial on the tail side, while the obverse showed a right-facing Lincoln on the head side. In 1988, the minting process used a copper-plated zinc planchet, a shift that had taken place earlier in the 1980s and remains the standard composition for pennies ever since. In 1988, the United States Mint produced over 11 billion Lincoln pennies combined across 3 facilities. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 6 billion coins with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced more than 5 billion with a D mint mark. There were also a few million proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, but even these proofs were made primarily for collectors rather than general circulation. Because so many 1988 pennies were made, they are extremely common today, and most coins you find in circulation are worth exactly 1 cent face value. That brings us to the subject that most people are curious about: stories and rumors. You may have heard about a 1988 penny being worth $1.4 million. It's a popular claim in some online videos and social media posts, but in the real numismatic market, there is no verified record of a standard 1988 Lincoln penny selling at auction for anywhere near that kind of money. In fact, documented auction results show high-grade 1988 pennies selling for a few $1,000s at most for very rare varieties and error coins, not millions of dollars. The highest graded normal 1988 coins in perfect, uncirculated condition sometimes bring a few $1,000s, depending on grade and eye appeal, but nothing near 7 figures. So, if a standard 1988 penny is worth a cent, how do collectors find value in these coins? The answer lies in condition and variety. A coin that has never circulated and preserves its original mint luster with very sharp details can be worth more to collectors. A red designation, meaning most of the original red copper color remains, can command premiums over worn brown coins. For the 1988 penny, a high-grade uncirculated example might be worth a few hundred or even a couple $1,000s in extreme cases when professionally graded and authenticated. But the most exciting part of the 1988 Lincoln penny story is rare varieties and mint errors. These are coins that differ from the standard strike and attract serious collector interest. For example, there is a known doubled ear variety where Lincoln's ear appears to have a second outline due to a die error. These doubled die or doubled ear coins have been documented selling for over $3,000 when in high grades, because real doubling of major design elements is rare and easily collectible. Another intriguing variety is the so-called flare G, where the designer's initials appear altered due to die polishing, resulting in a slightly different look to the letter G on the reverse. There are also transitional reverse varieties, where some 1988 coins appear with features more typical of the 1989 design, and those are sought by variety collectors. Off-center strikes, broad strike errors, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks also add interest. These error types show what can happen when a planchet isn't aligned properly or the die has been struck more than once, and they can make a coin worth far more than its face value, depending on severity and grade. One of the most dramatic types of error occurs when a penny die strikes a planchet intended for another denomination. For 1988 examples exist where a Lincoln penny design was struck on a dime planchet or vice Versa coins like these have sold at auction for over $1,000 because they are so unusual and collectors love dramatic anomalies. Even then, these prices are in the low thousands, not millions. If you are new to identifying rare pennies, here's what you can do. First, look at the condition of your coin. Is it worn smooth, or does it retain crisp detail and original color? Second, look closely at the date and lettering under. Magnification to check for doubling. Third, check the mint markant. Consider whether what you see looks normal compared to standard examples. Next, look at the reverse and observe the designer initials and the Lincoln Memorial details on error coins. These may appear misaligned, missing, or oddly shaped. Any coin with clear and significant deviations is worth having examined by a reputable numismatic dealer or professional. Grading, service grading, and authentication play a huge role in value. A coin that has been encapsulated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC gives buyers confidence in what they are buying and tends to fetch higher prices at auction because the condition is professionally certified. Collectors pay for quality and authenticity, and that is why high-quality 1988 pennies in pristine condition command attention. So, what's the takeaway? If you have a random 1988 Lincoln penny from Pocket Change, it is almost certainly worth a cent. If you have an uncirculated example, it might be worth a few dollars or more to collectors. If you have a genuine error or rare variety, it might be worth hundreds or even a few $1,000s, but claims saying a 1988 Lincoln penny is worth $1.4 million are exaggerations not supported by documented auction results. The real numismatic world values coins based on rarity, condition, demand, and verified sales history, not viral stories. Ultimately, the 1988 Lincoln penny is a fascinating part of American coinage history. Even though most were made in huge numbers, the few unusual examples show how even modern coins can surprise us if we look closely. That's part of the excitement of coin collecting and the reason people around the world continue to examine Pocket Change with curiosity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about the history and true value of the 1988 Lincoln penny, hit the like button, subscribe for more coin value and history videos, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a treasure hunt video. Keep checking those old coins. You never know what story might be hiding in plain sight. If you want, I can revise this with visual description cues and chapter markers to help structure your video production.